The Utah Mammoth is sorta proud to present NashCast.
What the is a NashCast?
NashCast, the only hockey show on the planet. Hosted by a human speed bag, fourth line wannabe, healthy scratch, Schnazzy Moto, Tyson Nash.
Who the hell is Tyson Nash?
Never heard of him.
And the baritone with a brain, the velvet hammer, Mr. Silky, Tono Suave, the radio voice of your Utah Mammoth,
Code Blue!
Mike Folta.
Oh, Captain, my Captain!
NashCast begins now.
Ready for takeoff.
Here's Tyler Ganoush and Mickey Foghorn. Wait, what? Oh, here's Tyson Nash and Mike Folta.
Feeling good, folks. Holy 4th of July. We had Canada Day, 4th of July. Buddy, I'm Canadian to the core, but I am turning, buddy. I call me a turncoat. I have been in the United States for all of my working life, and I can just tell you, buddy, from experience, because I lived in both, and my God, we are so blessed to live in the land of the free, brother. So I love it. Happy 4th. What did you get up to, buddy?
It was a blast. So in Utah, right? Like you can't, in the valley at least, there's all these firework ordinances. I'm a big firework guy. I'm not like a pyro, but like fireworks are special on the 4th of July. Like that's what America is. And so we went to a Bees game, so a baseball game, fireworks at the end, very American. And then before that, went to this lake up in the mountains, gorgeous, East Canyon. The little paddleboarding stuff like that. So just your normal run of the mill Utah American stuff. It was a blast. Now I'm in South Carolina. This is somebody else's house. It's a gorgeous.
I was going to say there's way too many books back there with way too many pages for you to read. I can tell you that. You went to school at Purdue, buddy.
I know
how it goes.
Well, and like some of these are like collectors golf balls up here.
Is there a NashCast in there?
There's no Titleist nines. There's no NashCast nines. There's like this collection of kind of like scum balls behind me, just on a platter sitting there, like kind of just strewn about. And I'm like, we're staying in a golf community. Can you just take those? Are those like mints?
Yeah.
Like you just?
Oh yeah.
You
absolutely. You fill your pockets, buddy. You fill your pockets. Absolutely. I got this free hat, so yeah, absolutely. You steal it anywhere you can go. But that's the high rent district right there, buddy. I love it. I love it.
We've got a compound. You would love this place, Tyson. My old man rented it for us, and he said, "Hey, kids, I'm getting the place. You guys just have to get here." And so. I've got my family that's all here. We've got a pool and a hot tub in the back, surrounded by palms and trees and all that stuff. We got a tiki bar in the back, Tyson.
Oh, let's
I know you
go.
Like
and I see your water wings back there, folks. And by the way, that hot tub, I talked to your dad earlier. You can't use it as a bidet. All right, it's a hot tub. All right, it's not. So keep it clean over there in Carolina. Keep it clean.
It's beautiful here. It's funny because it's so different than Utah, right? Like out here, you can drink the air. In Utah, it's so dry. Can you see Washington from there? Can you see the states from where you are? I mean, you can see about everything else. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. This place is pretty special. We are in Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. If you haven't been, it is spectacular. Like, I don't think there's a better place in the world as far as consistent weather goes and no bugs. I haven't seen a bug. There's not a mosquito. The mosquitoes just love me. Absolutely love me. They love my sweet blood. If they can get through the leather skin, folks, if they can get through the saddlebags, they can have at it. But there's no bugs here, right? And that's, we had Kailer Yamamoto on, right? That's why we're here today. We're taping the open of our show, and he is just down the lake from here. And I've been here about 5 years in the summers, ever since COVID, really. And this is a special place. So we're pretty blessed. I'll be surfing or doing some sort of activities out on the lake later, maybe a little golf with the fam. I'm not exactly sure, but lots to talk about anyway today, buddy, on the open of the show, the NHL. I know it's the off season, but are you kidding me? Like, it is rocking and rolling. We got offer sheets flying. Our own Barrett Hayden got one. And that Carlson deal, buddy, that Carlson deal on top of all the deals that Ryan Smith and Ashley Smith allowed Bill Armstrong to do, right? The free agent signings. So take it away, buddy. What are you thinking?
Well, so we're recording this on Monday the 6th, ahead of our Wednesday show, and it was the day of free agency. It was 5 days ago when free agency opened that we got the news later in the afternoon. The Utah Mammoth had acquired Vincent Trocheck via trade from the New York Rangers, sending Sean Durzi, Cole Baudouin, and a third-round pick to New York. And then moments later, we got an update that Anders Lee had been signed in free agency. Now, Tyson, a couple guys who I never would have thought would have left the Eastern Conference. Vincent Trocheck was on the trade block for the last year plus, and everyone was saying, "Oh, he's staying east. He wants to stay east." Anders Lee was the captain of the Islanders for 8 years, and now they're both Utah Mammoth. And you get two guys who are not afraid to play straight line hockey, go right to the net. They've been productive. They're versatile leaders. They've worn letters on their chest throughout their careers. I just think those were two shockwave moments that Bill Armstrong pulled off.
Without a doubt. And I heard rumblings, the trade deadline, that Trocheck was almost a Utah Mammoth player. But here's the thing that I love. And Trocheck, didn't he have a no trade?
Yes.
Like, I think he had a no trade. And I heard that, Lee reached out to the Mammoth, right? I heard it was not Bill Armstrong reaching out to him. So that tells you that the message is going around the league, that players now want to come to Utah. It is a destination. Now that the bar has been set, they're a playoff team, and they have added pieces. And these pieces, like you just talked about, these are studs. This is a captain of a legitimate team, like a franchise that has so much success in Lee and the Islanders, and he was their leader. So you add him to Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz and Trocheck, the same thing. They fit perfectly because of how they play the game. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be so exciting. And we're still young. Guys like Gunther, guys like Cooley, guys like Keller even. These are two players that you can learn so much from. You better soak them up like a sponge, because you don't last in this league, the NHL, and have the success that those two guys have had without being absolute studs. Showing up every day, it's about consistency. Anyone can play in the National Hockey League for 5, 6, 7 years, right? But to last as long as they have at the level that they're at, this is just a great signing. And they're not long-term deals, right? These are, 2-3 year deals, whatever they are left. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant. So the team is in a perfect spot. And look out, they are making waves. I think one of the most active teams, at the draft, at July 1 free agency. I mean, they got Kosa as well, another massive piece to this puzzle.
Yeah, Kosa expected to be the number 2 goalie. But Tyson, do you think with Trocheck and Lee, are those moves a direct response to what Utah underwent in that first round series against Vegas, where you're looking at that series and, all right, like, we want to be a little harder to play against. We want to be a little bit better around the net and to be able to score when it's hard and on the inside against big bodies.
1,000%. Like, what a great point. But I will say this, I think, and I'm going back, and I'm sure you're sick of me talking about this. This team, Bill Armstrong, Andre Tourigny, yes, everyone wants to make the playoffs, but they didn't want to say the word, right? But who comes out and says the word? It was the captain, Clayton Keller. He set the bar at the start of last season, and they did it. They accomplished their goal. And players don't want to go anywhere and not make the playoffs. They don't want to go to a rebuilding team. Not a chance. That's where your career goes to die. So Clayton Keller sets the bar. The team makes the playoffs. And now this is a reward. This is what this is to me. On top of recognizing that they need to get deeper, they need more pieces. And Ryan Smith just gave Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz 2 massive toys and pieces to play with, right? I mean, the excuses, all of them are gone. The bar has been set. They are now a playoff team, and these two guys are going to help in that scenario, along with Kosa. I mean, Karel Vejmelka, he needs a little help. And now they got another goaltender who they're going to give an opportunity to be the backup, and he's going to start some games. So the direction of this team is, I think, just all about rewarding the players that put that jersey on every night with better players.
Trocheck and Lee haven't played a game for the Mammoth yet. But, gosh, Tyson, don't you feel like it's kind of a watershed moment for Utah? Because these are two players that were heavily sought after by the rest of the league, at least in Trocheck's case. I don't think a lot of people knew that Lee wasn't going to re-sign with the Islanders, but two players that either were coveted or would have been coveted if people knew about them, and they both end up in Utah. Like, this is kind of the first time we're seeing the Mammoth beat out other teams for guys that are available. Does it feel like that to you?
Again, it's what they have built, what they have done in such a short time. That's the incredible part. What Ryan has done, what Bill has continued to do, and adding pieces and adding draft picks and adding prospects, all the things, people notice and they recognize that. I mean, guys look at, there's no loyalty anymore. Zero. I think like the loyalty is out the window. Look how Brady Tkachuk, like, for God's sake, are you kidding me? This guy gave everything. What was he there for 8 years? And they never really won. It's time to go elsewhere. I have no bones about it. Yeah, you were drafted there. So what? If he had a couple bad years, boom, he's gone. The team kicks you to the curb. You're a piece of meat, so it works the same way on the other side as the players. There's no loyalty. They're going to be banking money. Teams are now throwing out offer sheets. Like, what was it, 18, 19 million for Carlson? Like, if I was a GM, I would have been doing this years ago. I would love that guy. I love that guy. Why not offer sheet him? I don't care. My owner doesn't care. Clearly, he's got money. Go do it. I mean, they clearly love the guy. And we're going to see how much Anaheim loves them, too, and how they respond to that. But, I mean, you look at Barrett Hayton, our own Utah Mammoth. Yeah. Was it with the Devils that gave an offer sheet for just under $5 million? I think just under that. What is it, that cap, that if it's any more money than that, then all of a sudden you're losing first-round picks. So a second-round pick, I mean, that's not a lot to give up for Barrett Hayton. And good for Barrett Hayton. I mean, this is a guy that showed he can play on your second line, he can play on your third line, or your first line. He can play on the power play. He's done it before, but, you know, with Utah, too, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what happens with them, because now they have depth. You got Lee, right? You got Trocheck. And, you know, Barrett Hayton is probably going to have to move down a few steps.
With the Leo Carlson offer sheet, I mean, it's a game changer for player contracts, but for the Anaheim Ducks too. I mean, this is a torpedo to the hull of Pat Verbeek's ledger and his accounting department. Like, how much of this do you think is like vengeance for the Cutter Gauthier situation where he leaves Philly and goes to Anaheim? like how much of this is it a direct shot at another team, Tyson, and how much is it like actually trying to acquire the player? Because the Ducks or Philly, I should say, they set that number so high that now like the Ducks have to think about it because it's a ton of money.
Yeah. Well, and Philly, I mean, I get all that, and I agree. That's another great point by you, that there had to have been a little bit of bad blood. Like, hey, we're gonna stick it to you here, boys. Not only do they battle on the ice, now you gotta think that the GMs like Verbeek and Briere are sitting there going, "All right, buddy, your move. What are you gonna do?" And for Philly, though, it's a big risk as well, because I mean, what do they lose? 4 first-round picks or something crazy? So, and a lot of money. But how about just the money now? I mean, Anaheim has decisions to make. Now you got Cutter Gauthier. This guy scored 40 goals. Like, what is he going to get paid? And who's going to offer him an offer sheet, right? Like, this will be interesting come collective bargaining, you know, agreement, what the owners want to do about this, right? Because, my God, this has changed the landscape of the NHL. I know there's been the odd one, but I think you're going to see more and more teams start to do it. And you have put the Anaheim Ducks in a world of hurt. Not only do they have to match it, but now you got other younger players that are going to be wanting the same money. And Connor McDavid, McKinnon, what are they worth now? Holy jeez. We're going to be NBA here soon.
So if I believe Carlson has signed that offer sheet, so he will be making $18 million for some team this next year, which would make him the highest paid player on a yearly average in the NHL. Great player, great player, good to have for the future. But man, a lot of money. Tyson, what's the end game here? Because we had already been seeing teams sign players early, where these 20 and 21-year-old guys are signing, the 7x7s, the 8x8s. Like, where does this end up? Does this push those contracts even bigger and earlier, where now you need even fewer games to prove yourself before a team quickly offers you a contract so nobody else can offer sheet you?
I think it's a joke, first of all. I mean, but listen, and before you crucify me, I am from the old days, right? I mean, you had to earn your money. You didn't make money in the National Hockey League until you turned 30. That's when you became a free agent, right? Now it's who can read the crystal ball. And these kids, you have one good year, and you're making 7 times 7. Like, that's insanity. This is business at the end of the day. And that is a horrible, horrible business decision. And, for me, you still got to earn it, but those days are gone. And I know that, and you have to get used to it. And you have to make those decisions, those knee-jerk decisions. And you better do your homework. You better do your analytics. And you better have the eyeball test going, because these kids, these agents, they're demanding a lot of money for not a lot of proof, right? Yeah. They have one good year and they are making bank. But good on it. Again, it's more like the NBA every day. And the players, I love to see players make money. Well, so it's
doesn't it make you glad to be a Utah Mammoth? Because holy, you look at the young guys that are locked up. Logan Cooley's making 10, and that was a lot when he signed it. Like, he signed it just this last year, and we're like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's $80 million, 8x10. Dylan Guenther's making just over 7 a year.
Oh, yeah.
He's not even making half of what Leo Carlson.
How pissed is he going to be when he scores 50 next year, right? And he's going, what? Cutter Gauthier is going to be making $18 million. I mean, and Dylan Guenther's a much better player, especially 200-foot player than Cutter Gauthier. So I don't know, man. These agents, all I know is they are licking their chops. I'm waiting for you, Fultz, to get an offer sheet, right? So it can start the trickle down effect to the broadcasters. Let's go.
I think Wendy's is going to offer sheet me. It's gonna be seven. It's gonna be
John
seven.
Chaika.
It's gonna be 7 times 7, but that's my hourly wage times how many hours I'm working a day.
And it'll come from John Chaika. Doesn't he own like 50 of them or something with his dad?
Right. That's right.
Oh my God.
Oh man. But anyway, anything else, Tyson, before we get to Kailer Yamamoto here?
No, I just want to say again to Yamamoto, just thank you for the time. The kid's a stud, right? What he did, the depth, that's what I also love. And I forgot to touch on one other thing, talking about money in the league and how it's going to affect, right? And my mind immediately goes to the third and fourth line guys, because that's what I was my entire career. And I did talk to Ray Whitney the other day, and we were just, hot stoving it. And I love the fact, for me personally, I think the NHL is going to need to be able to offer one player on every single team to make however much money they want. If you want to pay Clayton Keller $30 million, you want to bring in Austin Matthews, you can pay him $50 million, and he doesn't count against your cap, right? I think at some point you have to do that, because the dollars are going to be so great. You're not going to be able to keep players that you need, that you want, that you drafted, right? Because you're going to have to pay them so much money, and there's not enough money, sadly, yet to go around. So, the third and fourth line guys, they're going to be making league minimum. And that kind of sucks for me, just because I know those guys and how important those players also are to a winning franchise.
Well, this is a guy who can play on your fourth line, but he can play on your first line too. He was playing with Cooley and Guenther in the playoffs and was part of really the best line the Mammoth had in the postseason. Signed a contract extension with Utah this last year after he fought his way up from a PTO when he first arrived on the scene in Salt Lake City. But let's not waste any more time and get right into our conversation with a Utah Mammoth forward, winger, and do-it-all Swiss Army knife, Kailer Yamamoto.
What is up, Mammoth Faithful? The NashCast is back, powered by the Utah Mammoth. That's right. I'm your host, the human speed bag, and Mike Folta, the radio voice. What a set of pipes on him. And this is a guy, our next guest, Foltz, flew in on a PTO. He stole a spot. He earned a spot with his speed and skill and tenacity, and we just locked him up in Utah for 2 more years. He's from Spokane. Welcome to the show, Kailer Yamamoto. Buddy, what a way to start the summer. You got a brand new baby boy, and you got a 2-year contract in the back pocket. How did you celebrate?
Oh man, I think I got some rest actually. No, we kind of just hung out and had a few beers that night. But man, we were hanging out. This little guy. He's doing some damage on me right now at nighttime. So yeah, trying to get as much sleep as we can right now.
You weren't pumping, were you? You didn't have the breast pump on?
Fuck, I put it on a couple times, but no, I haven't yet.
Just to try it, eh?
Yeah, just
They're all
to try,
chapped.
See what she's working with over there.
Kyler, what's it like to have, a couple years of stability now, a 2-year contract after signing some 1-year deals, and now you have a family, right? Have the little one. What's it like to kind of have the stability and the family element come together at the same time?
Oh, it's huge. To be able to sign a 2-year, it's been tough the last couple years. I think I've signed two-ways I signed a PTO 2 years ago and then a 2-way, I think both in late September, mid-September, right before camp. So a little nerve-wracking not knowing where I was going to play, whether I was in Tucson or Utah. But, to get this deal, to be able to start looking for a house, kind of settle down a little bit. Yeah, it's really big for me this year.
I want to go back to your childhood. Growing up in Spokane, that's actually right down the lake from me here. And I had a conversation with Tyler Johnson. What a great guy. Unreal dude. He's been on the show a couple times. And he was talking about, I asked him for some stories, and he said, it's kind of crazy. He goes, my mom actually, kind of taught or got you and your brother on skates, back in preschool at her hockey camp. Is that true?
That is true. I want to say, how old was I? I was probably 3 or 4 years old when she was my skating coach. So yeah, I've known Tyler since I was a baby. But yeah, just growing up, I would always watch him at Eagles Ice Arena. And then yeah, just kind of rip around, and then full circle now. I'm playing in the NHL. His mom's watching me. He's watching me. I'm watching him. Yeah, it's been a pretty surreal adventure with him.
So he talked about that camp. Sorry, Foltz, to jump on you there. He said he would coach. He was much older than you, obviously. He would coach and help his mom out. And he said, I always had to have Yamamoto on my team because I wanted to be undefeated. The kid would come to the bench. He goes, what do you want me to do? I'd say, go score. And he would go out and legitimately score. He had nothing but just the highest of praise for you and how talented you are, how natural it comes to you. But how big of an influence was Tyler in your career? I mean, you grew up in Spokane. He grew up in Spokane as well.
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, there's only 2 players out of Spokane who have made the NHL, I think, or who are born and raised here, Tyler and Derek Ryan. But yeah, just growing up with Tyler, kind of idolizing him. He's been my role model since I've been so young, just because I've known him. I've known his family, watching him grow up, play for Tampa, win the cup and kind of everything. I just wanted to idolize my game after him. So yeah, he was by far one of the biggest influences I've had, in my hockey career for sure.
Well, the other guy you mentioned, Derek Ryan, you got to play with him, right? In Edmonton. So he was maybe a little over 10 years older than you. I know maybe you don't have the family connection, but was he another guy you looked up to and kind of had that same mindset towards? And how cool was it to eventually play with him?
I absolutely did. Because he had an interesting career. It wasn't like Tyler where, he came into the NHL at 21, 22. Yeah, he took the long way. I remember watching him when I was, I say I was 8 years old, maybe 6 years old, playing for the Spokane Chiefs. I think I actually went out for a 7th man with that guy before, back in the day. I was super young, but no, just watching him throughout his career kind of go to Austria, then Sweden, back to the AHL, and then make the NHL at 29. It was pretty remarkable to see. Not many guys, I don't know many guys. I don't know if you guys do it who take that path and come back to NHL and play 10 plus years. So it's pretty crazy. And then to play with him, like, yeah, he's one of the best probably leaders I've ever had. Very vocal in the locker room, says the right things, and you know, a lot of respect in the locker room too.
Well, I never say the right things, but take us back to this. I can't believe we haven't got canceled yet. I got a few HR complaints already too, but take us back to the Spokane days. I played in Kamloops, and we would always come across the border, and the Chiefs back in the day, they were an absolute wagon and a weapon and scary. That old barn, I'm sure you grew up watching games in that old barn. Maybe you're way too young and I'm way too old, but there was obviously Tyler. There was a guy by the name of Ray Whitney as well, and another small guy, Pat Falloon.
Yep.
And then you come along, right? 291 points in only 230 games. Those numbers are staggering. You're a first round pick, but you grew up in Spokane playing for the Chiefs. How big was that? You must have been a legend.
It was awesome. I mean, I didn't really play in Spokane until I think I left Spokane when I was 8 years old. Played in Seattle for 3 years. Went to LA for travel team. Back to Wenatchee to LA for 2 years, and then finally full circle. I came back at 16, and it was unbelievable. I got to play with my brother. You know, live at home, go to high school with my old friends and everything like that. So it was kind of a weird, you know, journey, but you know, full circle, it was unbelievable.
So you had your older brother, and it's funny reading, you know, this old article from when you were in Edmonton talking about growing up with him, and I know you had an older sister as well, but I read that your dad would duct tape your skate guards onto your skates so you could walk around the house and like strengthen your ankles and legs when you were 2.
That's next level.
That was, yeah.
What else did your mom and dad do?
Oh, I mean, when I first started skating, I can't remember if it was my mom or dad, but I know my grandpa, we would be out for kind of just like learn to skate and everything. I was probably like 2 years old at this time. The only way I would skate is he would put a line of M&Ms across the ice just so I would follow it, pick them up and eat them, and just so I would skate towards him.
like Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah, literally. So I think that was one of they didn't really tell me too many stories, but yeah, I know when my dad probably strapped skates, I was probably a year and a half maybe. I started skating when I think my brother was earlier than me. I think my brother started skating at 20 months. I started skating at 22 months old.
Wow.
Yeah,
we were with your little guy. Strap the skates.
Oh yeah,
on.
I'm going back to Utah. I'm gonna start talking to CCM reps, see if I can get some small skates. Start ripping them out.
Hey, speaking of equipment, we got to get them some earmuffs. Eh? I love the F-bombs are flying. It's like we're in the locker room. That's the only thing I miss. I certainly don't miss getting beat up anymore. But when did you know? Like, I mean, you're a small guy. I mean, when did you know? You're like, hey, I got this. I can do this. And was it guys like Ray Whitney? Obviously, you talked about Tyler already that were like, they can do it. I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, seeing everybody like Ray, Tyler, Derek. I mean, they're all undersized. I mean, Derek's probably the tallest, and he's 5'10". Tyler's about says he's like an inch taller. I don't think he is.
He's got soap bars in his socks.
I know, right? No, just like kind of growing up and seeing them. You know, it's probably when I hit junior, I had a pretty good first year, and I was like, wow, I could actually do this. But like growing up, like, I mean, I was so small. Like, I think my first year in the dub when I was 16, I was 5'6", 135 pounds, soaking wet. So just going in there, but seeing those guys, seeing Tyler and all those guys, just seeing, you know, the smaller guys, you know, tear up the league, you know, kind of gave me that confidence and, you know, instilled that, you know, I can make it and kind of shit like that.
Were you always like one of the smaller guys? Because I always thought I'm your height basically, and I always thought I was like right in the middle, and then I like, you know, senior year of high school into college, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually like pretty short, but I never thought of myself that way. Like, were you always like on the smaller side, and so you kind of had to like learn how to play with what you had early on?
No, I mean, yeah, I've always kind of been the smallest, but you know, I've always tried to play a big game. You know, I really look at size, whether I'm going into a corner with the 6'4" guy. Like, I have the confidence that I'm going to come out with that puck, and you know, bigger guys fall harder. So I don't know.
Low man wins, baby.
Yeah, 100%. So, but I have always known I was the smallest, and you know, I've kind of changed my game a little bit, but not too much. Just try to play the same way every day.
So take us back to the draft. I mean, we just had the draft. Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong, they knocked it out of the park once again. You were 22nd overall back in 2017 to the Edmonton Oilers as a small guy. I mean, and your journey. I mean, your journey has not been an easy one. Starts in Edmonton where you're almost a point a game, and then you get shipped off to Seattle after a few years, and then to Utah on a PTO. So just kind of talk about your journey. It was a great one. I love it.
Yeah, it was fun, going through that draft process with Edmonton. I mean, I guess all the guys, but Edmonton is in specific. That was actually really cool. Before the draft, they took me out to Gazer. I think it was Keith Gretzky, Bob. I can't think of his name. He was the head scout there, and then I think it was supposed to be Wayne. Wayne ended up not being able to golf with this one guy who was an all-timer. I think he built, I can't remember his name, but he built all the highways in LA. This guy came out like I was fully dressed like to the nine, like for this golf. This guy comes out sandals, jeans, and a shirt. Just starts swinging. I'm like, this is unbelievable what's happening on this course right now. They probably proceeded to shoot like a 78 too, and I was just like, this is unbelievable. But
and then right to the tree bar.
Oh yeah, 100%. So that was kind of my thing before the draft. Got drafted. It was a whirlwind. I barely remember my draft day. I was just in awe, kind of like everything that was happening and stuff like that. Finally went back to, it was in Chicago, went back to Peninsula, had some wine with Gretter, so that was pretty sick. First day, so that was crazy. But yeah, we had some good years up in Edmonton. A KE market, it's when they say the media, it's no joke up there. They hound you like crazy. I've never really experienced that up until I played for Edmonton, and then it was just like you'd have 3 goals one game, you are legit the man. You could have 3 penalties next game. They're like, trade this guy immediately. What are we doing with this guy? This is absurd.
So, what's his name? Spector? Is he one of the guys up there? Spector and Matheson. Yeah. Oh, God help me. I grew up in Edmonton or outside Edmonton, so I feel your pain.
Yeah. So no, and then went to Seattle, and I grinded with the coach a little bit, but it was that was a good year. It's kind of eye opening. Obviously, not my best year. I struggled a little bit, but
was it Robert Moses, the guy who built the highways? Does that sound right?
Could have been, actually. I'm not positive. He was old. He was a little bit older. I'd probably say he was in his 60s, maybe.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't say 50.
I looked right at you and I go, I can't say
that. You looked at the beard. Hey, I'm 60 Canadian, actually, so you're lucky.
All right. And then signed my 2-way. PTO, went to Tucson, or went to camp up in Utah, but went to Tucson. It was probably one of my funnest years, honestly. Just, I don't know, the AHL schedule is insane. It's unbelievable. You play Friday, Saturday. You don't play that. It was 60 degrees, sunny skies every day. So I got my golf rounds in down there. I got a little bit better down there. Figured my actual game out. And then came back and, made Utah, and it was awesome last year. It's kind of an up and down year last year. Playing a lot of different positions, but, ended it strong, and I was happy with it. And then, to come back to sign this, it was, it's been honestly a crazy ride the last 2 years. I would have never really thought that I would be, I guess, in this situation. I always thought I could be, but, for it to turn out the way it did and, sign this 2-year contract, it's still pretty surreal to me right now.
Rewarding.
Yeah, very rewarding.
I remember talking with Josh Doan when he was with the organization about you two playing together in Tucson. And it might have even been you, but I thought it was Josh who said, like, when you guys were playing together, it felt like you could have a goal every night. Like, what was it like?
It was so easy playing with that guy down there. It was, and you know what? Our coach just hated it. I actually think I played 2 games with him. Would almost ask the coach, me and him would ask the coach almost every day. And he was just like, we got to put you guys on separate lines. Like, we're just not that deep of a team. Like, if you guys go on the same line, but like, I think the 2 games I played with him, Donor had 7 points or something like that. I had 5 or 6. Like, it was just like, I remember playing in Vegas one game, and it was legit. I felt like I was just like playing half speed. I was just like, this is insane. Like, how easy the game is, like playing with this kid right now. So I'm happy with, that I got to play with him. Just seeing him sign a 8-year by $7 million, something like that. I really fun too. That kid's a special player, and he's going to be one for a long time. So, but yeah, he was very fun to play with down there.
I can say this, I've never had that feeling ever, ever. But the feeling I have had is playing in the NHL and then going back to the American Hockey League, and by my idol, Wayne Gretzky, sends me down. I'm crying on his desk, his mahogany desk. I think I'd been like 8 years in the NHL, and all of a sudden my hero ends my NHL career. And he was right, but I know there were some dark days for me. I had a family. I mean, you had to have some real dark days, questioning yourself. How did you get through it? And what kind of advice would you give to other young kids in the National Hockey League going through it?
Yeah, I had a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've definitely had some dark days. But no, I think it was just my support cast around me. Everyone was very supportive. They were all on my team. Even when I was really struggling, I remember talking to my wife, my dad, mom, like they were always very supportive, telling me I was playing good, and I knew I was playing like shit, and I was just like, oh, come on. But no, just kind of just surrounding myself with, good people who want me to do my best, even if I'm playing like, they still have my back, like instilling that confidence in me. And yeah, but I would just tell people, yeah, support yourself with good people. The journey goes by fast, goes by way too fast. Like I remember, it feels like I just got drafted 2 years ago. I feel like I'm 27 already now. So
Well, you look like it still. My God.
I know, right? Aging like a baby over here. Those Asian genes over there.
Kyler, when you came in, it was October of 24, and you earned your way onto the team. From that PTO, got the contract. I think you had like 3 preseason goals or something like that. Were you like playing for your livelihood in those games? Is that what it felt like in those preseason games? Like you're playing for a contract, but it's do or die, and it's preseason, right? But for you, like it helped get you that contract. I don't think you signed it, or they didn't announce it at least until October. So what was it like coming in that situation?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, to not have a contract at like, what day was that? Camp starts 22nd. I probably didn't have a contract, or probably didn't have a PTO till September 18th or something like that. So to sign that and then like basically go straight to camp, it did feel a little. I mean, I had adrenaline every skate. It was just like, buddy, you gotta put it in gear here. Like you don't have a good one, you ain't getting a contract this year. So, to be able to work for a contract, it was very rewarding. And yeah, like it's just hard to say because obviously I never want to be in that position again. But to be able to work for that, is very rewarding. And I wouldn't change anything, to be completely honest. It felt like it taught me a lot about myself, taught me a lot about my game, and be able to come out with a contract after that, it was pretty special.
Well, you won't be in that position for the next 2 years. We know that. That was a ton of cabbage, big boy. I love it. But talk about your days in Edmonton. Everyone has to ask you these questions. What was it like playing with McDavid and Draisaitl? And I mean, we see them on TV. We broadcast their games. How good are these guys day to day?
It's not even funny. Like, I remember watching McDavid, because Draisaitl is obviously like a different player. Like I wouldn't say he's as flashy as him, but might be the best passer I've ever seen. Backhand, forehand, like his backhand I've never seen anything like it.
That stick is ridiculous.
It's long. His blade is. God, he's got a goalie paddle on. Like I still think it's illegal. I don't know how he gets away with it. Like he's the only one in the league who uses it. It's insane. But then like you look at McDavid and it's just like we're doing like one-on-one drills. It's like, I mean, usually defense have the upper hand. I've never witnessed D gets like their pants like mid ice. They see this guy wheeling around the net and they're going, oh no, oh.
They all strap the Depends on before the game, eh?
Literally, no. And then like he just like absolutely dances him, gets a B win. I'm just like no one else on the team has even came close to like beating a D man yet, like getting a shot on net, and this guy just does it every rep, and you're just like, what is happening right now? Like he's insane in games. In practice, I think it's like even more impressive. You're just like, what is going on? Like for instance, like if he doesn't get a game for like 2 games in a row, this guy will go out like 45 minutes before practice, balls to the walls, doing like pep hockey, like doing everything just flawless. Though goes into practice, is like the hardest worker by like 10 times. dominating. You're just like, this guy's gonna score like the next game. Goes out the next game and legit like gets 4, and you're just like, this is a robot. I think like this guy's unbelievable. What is going on right now?
That must make everyone in the locker room going, okay, I better step up here. If they're doing it, right? I mean, Crosby's the same thing. All the best guys are. I better be doing it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it just makes you like when you see that in practice, it just makes you want to just work harder and be like, dude, if our captain's doing, our best players doing it, why aren't I doing it? You know?
Yeah. When you
What's
see
in store
those guys,
for them? Fultz, I got it. One quick.
Oh, go ahead.
One
Yeah.
quick one. Babcock in Edmonton. What's that gonna be like for those boys?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know Babcock, but I've heard the stories, and oof, I don't know. They said, according to them, they said they wanted to get better. So
are you buying it? Are you buying that they wanted him there?
Honestly, I could. I just think I could see McDavid and Draisaitl maybe because I feel like not a dig at them, but like I feel like coaches are a little bit scared of them. Like if they put up a hard front like on the bench and they go, "Hey fella, you better play me 29 minutes tonight." That coach is probably shitting his pants and going, "Yeah, you know what? Every other shit,
Playing 31.
yeah, you're playing 31." But I don't know, like because that Knobloch, he was McDavid's coach in junior, so I thought he'd be a good fit. Took him back to back-to-back finals. I didn't think he was gonna, be anywhere, but I don't know if they want somebody who to tell him to play more defense or hey, you're cheating this. He's the right guy, but I just don't know. From the stories I've heard, I don't know if he's the right fit to be completely honest. Because I don't know in Edmonton, the third, fourth line, they just get every game. So
Right.
if he's on them too, it's gonna God bless their hearts. I don't know if they're gonna be scoring any goals this year.
Well, and in that media market too, right? It's created this vortex. And when you like on that team, when you see those star players get in front of the camera and answer the questions from that type of media environment every day, like what is that like as a teammate seeing Connor and Leon get up there and just take a beating basically every day?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they're pros at it. They've been doing it since they were 21 years old. So I think they're pretty used to it. I think it's probably getting old to them. I think they really want to win a cup. But yeah, I mean, I feel for them. To go out there as the captain, assistant captain, two of the best players to not have a Stanley Cup and just go to the media every time and what happened? Why didn't you guys win this year? And for them to just basically just have no answers, just kind of not know what to say. It's yeah, you obviously you feel for them for sure.
You're on a line, and I mean, that line was lights out. The numbers you put up, you stepped it up the regular season, and you stepped it up even more in the playoffs. Would you have 5 points in 6 games at the toughest time of the year? But talk about your chemistry with Gunther and Cooley, and how excited. And are you gonna? Does the coach tell you that now? Does the GM going, "Hey, we want to see you back on that line again next year"?
They haven't really told me that. Obviously Bear just signed, I got a good relationship with, Andre, or Bear, we call him Bear, but, yeah, to come back and, have that confidence from him. I'm not sure what the lines are gonna be. I've heard they might go after somebody in free agency and stuff like that, but it doesn't really change, me coming in and, trying to do the best. Like, obviously I have chemistry with them, so if they wanna put us together, I would love that because those 2 players are I mean, Logan's 21. It's unbelievable. I haven't seen too many hockey players like that. Kind of reminded me like a young, like McDavid almost a little bit.
I was wetting the bed at 21 still, I think.
Yeah, same. So I was struggling. Different path. But no, like to see his game. And then Gunther's got probably one of the best releases I've ever seen in the NHL.
Can you compare him to anyone? Like I always say he's like a poor man's Stamkos, but
yeah.
I mean
Yeah, literally, and I think he could almost even get up to Stammer. Like, if he shoots everything already, but yeah, I don't even know. I think he could get to 50 very easily. But no, and then I think what's more impressive about those two is just their work ethic, like their hounding of the puck, to be able to go into corners, win those 50-50 battles. It's very impressive. It almost feels like when you're playing with them, like they always have the puck on their stick. Like they don't really chase it too much. They're always just like, either read the player, they're winning that battle, and they're coming out with it and making a play. So it's yeah, it was pretty fun to play with them.
They played together almost the whole year, and you joined their line towards the end. What was it like to see their chemistry between the two of them?
Oh, it was awesome. At times I was like, fuck, I don't even know if they want to pass me right now. We're just out here skating around. But no, to see that chemistry, to witness it like on the ice, it was pretty awesome to see it. Like, I mean, like you can read, like I could read the play and be like, I think this is where the puck's going. He's already like Gunther's already there waiting for the shot, and you're just like, all right, yeah. I don't have that chemistry with him right now, but I was growing it. But yeah, just to see it, it was pretty remarkable. And I would imagine that they're probably going to play together. They're around the same age, and they get along very well. So and I'm excited to watch them play together and kind of blossom together.
You talked about the coach, Bear, Andre Turney. What do you like about his style? You talked about you guys being pretty connected.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a very connected guy, loves to talk to players. He's very vocal in the locker room. A lot of, he does those small things, I think, very well. Points a lot of things out, lets the guys talk about, and it's not just him like saying like, hey, we need to do this. He asks the guys a lot. Why are we struggling? A lot of team meetings, like if we're struggling, why are we struggling? What do we need to do as a team? To get back on track. And it's all of our words. He obviously throws suggestions out there, but he lets us talk through it, and kind of stuff like that. So I really like that. And he's very personable. Off the ice, he likes to have a good relationship with the guys, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, I think he's just a very well-rounded coach, and he's definitely earned that multi-year contract this year.
Well, a great year for you, and I didn't realize this until I just looked it up, but you had a really high shooting percentage, around 22%. A lot of people who follow that stuff, they tend to assume that those percentages regress towards the mean over times. But like as I think back to your goals this season, a lot of them were in really high percentage areas. A lot of them were right around the net. Is scoring in those tight areas, is that something that you've always had, or is that something that you've worked on while you've been in the NHL?
I feel like I've worked on it. I feel like I've been pretty good though, like throughout, like when I was growing up in junior, I feel like I was pretty good in it, but obviously I still work on it like almost every day. Um, just kind of like areas where I think you should work on it as a younger kid or, kind of growing up. I think those areas, you can make a lot of bucks right there. If you can score in those areas. So I definitely work on it. I think it's gotten better, over the years, but yeah, definitely still work on it every day.
You're now a veteran in the league at 27. When I came in as a rookie, I mean, things are drastically different. In junior hockey, they used to dress us up. We'd have to sing songs and all this stuff. But the NHL, it was, I don't know if they still do this. It was the rookie meal. The rookies pay the meal, and that was kind of it. Is there anything more to it when you're breaking in a new guy?
Ooh, I don't even know if I can. I don't even know if I can tell that here. No, it was. I think ours was pretty chill this year. Like I know, girl, like coming from Edmonton. Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot better for the rookies. I'll just say that. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely. They're definitely getting off the hook now. Maybe like a couple stories here and there, but like if they say no, it's kind of just like, oh, all right. I guess, yeah, we can't really do much about that. Like, we're gonna get put on TMZ over here or something if we try to do it. But,
Yeah.
no, I think it's a lot more chill this year.
Is it different organization to organization?
Yeah, I think so. But yes, and no. I think it kind of just depends, honestly.
Oh, that's great. So Salt Lake City, you're going out with Mama. Where are you going? I mean, I come in, I fly in and out. I need some new hot spots. I'm kind of wearing mine out.
Ooh.
I'm at Lake Effect
Yeah,
every
Lake
night,
Effect is
but
banned
I
him.
was gonna say, if you got a Lake Effect yet, you're gonna
I'm like Norm from Cheers. You're probably too young for that too, but yeah, I'm a
Tyson
fixture.
walks up, they ask the usual.
yeah, right.
Kyler, I want to go back to earlier in your career real quick. I didn't want to miss this question, but like COVID came at such a brutal time for you because that was what during your rookie season at Edmonton. You were you were ripping it up with the Oilers, and then COVID hits. That season comes to an end. The next season's super awkward. Like, what was it like, kind of having that hit at such, such an inflection point of your development as an NHL player?
Yeah, that was tough. That was actually really tough in my career. I was having actually an unbelievable year. So I think I got called up halfway through the year. I was down in Bakersfield having a time, and then got called up, and yeah, I was absolutely. This is the one time I actually tore it up. With I think I had 26 and 27 or something like that.
Ooh.
And then COVID obviously hit, and we took like 3 or 4 months off, and yeah, I think I might have. Yeah, went off the rails a little bit, for that 4 months. You couldn't really do much that stuff in Edmonton. Yeah.
Came back
We all
200
did.
pounds.
We all
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, but no, it was kind of just a tough time. I felt like I kind of lost my momentum, unfortunately, from that. And then obviously didn't have a great playoffs that year in the bubble. Came back, and I think I want to say, I can't remember if my next year was good or the year after where I had 40, but yeah, it was kind of just a weird. Wish it never would have happened, to be completely honest. It was kind of tough timing because I was rolling. I want to say I was on a line with me, Nuge, and Draisaitl, and I want to say we were the number one line in the NHL at one point for like that stretch of games. Like we were scoring at an insane pace, they were getting like 1 or 2 every game. So, that to have that happen, it was definitely tough. Cause yeah, I was definitely rolling.
Well, Kyler, that's it. We don't want to take too much of your time. I got the strap the Speedo on. I'm hitting the lake this
Are you
afternoon.
hitting the lake? Did you golf this morning?
No, that's coming too. That's coming too. It's
like
Canada Day, right?
Yeah,
Elbows up, baby.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be out there. But thanks, buddy. Your journey, it's a great one. I absolutely love these type of stories. Congratulations on the contract as well.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, folks, how good was that, buddy? So happy for this guy. You touched on it before we went to the interview. A PTO. This is a guy and his story and the journey. And my favorite part of this show is going back in history and look at the grind that they did. Everyone sees the 18,000 fans, this guy's an NHL player, blah, blah, blah. They don't see what they go through adversity-wise, the highs and lows, the training, the grind in the gym every day. I mean, I was just at the gym. There's 2 or 3 athletes, a bunch of basketball players. They're sled pulling. They're walking upstairs with guys on their backs. I mean, it's ridiculous how hard these guys work. But Yamamoto was an interesting one because of how he was drafted, right? The success he had in junior, his draft, 22nd overall to the Edmonton Oilers, the year he had with the Oilers, almost a point a game. Then he falls off. He goes to Seattle, has a real off year, didn't get along with the coach, and all of a sudden he's out. He's on the outside looking in, and he gets a call from the Mammoth, and they bring him in on a PTO. And what does the guy do? 2-year contract now in his back pocket, up and down with Tucson as well. But what a story, buddy. I know you've watched him for the last couple of years, and it's been inspirational.
He was great this last year for Utah. And I think it's fascinating too, Tyson. Undersized guy from close to where you are right now. He's from Eastern Washington, which is basically
Spokane.
Yeah, from Spokane. So he's from like
20 minutes down that way.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, but that's Spokane's like a relative backwater in the NHL hockey landscape, right? It's not like Toronto or Edmonton or Calgary or even, Michigan or Massachusetts, one of these hotbeds of hockey players. And yet he still not just made it to the NHL, but he still was a high enough prospect to be ranked or to be taken in the first round. I just think that the combination of him being undersized and being from such a small hockey area, they do the Spokane Chiefs, right, in the WHL, but still, it's a pretty incredible story. And he mentioned his parents, all the driving they did. I mean, that's just hockey parents right there for you, but to the nth degree with his mom and dad.
Yeah, him and his brother, Tyler Johnson, a friend of the show. He's been on a few times. His mother taught Kyler how to skate. Him and his brother. I mean, what a story, right? It's the hockey. It's another lesson in the hockey family, right? And how tight knit it is. They skate 3 times a week here, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. My son was at the skate this morning. And he's skating with Kailer Yamamoto. I'm like, how cool is that? And, you know, it just kind of shows you also, like, the guy's not big. And my son always says it. He goes, Dad, I'm like a little bigger than him. Like, this is like, it's crazy, like how good he is. And I'm like, yeah, it just shows you, like, you never know. You're not that far off. This is inspiration for everyone. And I've been beating the drum forever. That is why Theo Fleury has to get into the Hockey Hall of Fame, because he paved the way for every single young guy and small guy that played in the National Hockey League. You talk to Ray Whitney, you talk to Tyler Johnson. I mean, even Yamamoto, I'm sure has watched him. He would have been just a baby, but you know, those type of players, they matter. And you look at today's game now too. Best players in our game are smallish type players, right? I mean, so what a story, what a journey for him. And boy, was he funny. Way more personality, Fultz, than I ever thought, right? We had a couple beeps in there. I'm sure his new baby had to put the earmuffs on at times because he was letting it fly. He was having fun. It felt like he was in the locker room again.
He's been great to talk to these last couple years, and just always a gracious guy, always having fun. And yeah, that new dad energy has unlocked something in him. That's for sure. But he's not a guy who's fighting for a spot necessarily in the lineup coming into training camp. So
not anymore. Cool. Not the money he's making, right? I mean, that's incredible. Like, I mean, this guy, it's got to feel good, right? Like, to know what you've been through, the highs and lows, the doubt that had to be going through his mind. He talked about all of those things, right? I mean, how he had to show up on that PTO. You asked him that question. I can't take a shift off. I can't take a practice or a scrimmage off because I could be gone. And that's it. I was a stud in the NHL. I was on one of the best lines in the National Hockey League before the shutdown, right? Who was it? Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl?
Yeah.
And I mean, Draisaitl wanted to play with him. I know that for a fact. He asked to play with Yamamoto. And I mean, and then all of a sudden you're on the outside looking in and you're on a PT. That's how quickly, folks, things can turn in the National Hockey League. And the door can close on you pretty darn fast.
Door's closing on us in this show, Tyson. We got more action coming next week. As always, dropping on Wednesday. Follow along on the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It's free to you. Helps us. But also follow us on Instagram at NashCast Official. You are melting, it looks like. Hopefully you threw some SPF on, but you handle it better than I do. As you can tell.
I got a beef jerky suit on, folks. I got a beef jerky suit on here. That's how dark I am right now.
You rub yourself in like beef tallow or something, or oil?
I do. Yes, dude, it's the best thing on the planet. And still no bugs. Still no bugs, even with the beef tallow. So dogs love me anyway.
Just as long as they don't love you too much.
Yeah, exactly. Won't go there. Well, thanks, buddy. As always, man, you carried the mic. Thank you.
Well, thank you to everyone for listening as well. We will talk to everybody next Wednesday. That's our next show. God bless, and we'll see you later.